30 years in the future.
We are fighting a war. Our enemy is not human, and we are losing.
We need you to fight.
I will be back.
And I love you, Chickpea.
7 days from now, when you're sent into that war, you won't be fighting for your country. You'll be fighting for the world.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
Going to war. Stop talking. Listen.
Sorry, I mean, when I'm nervous, I talk. I'm like a 97 on the nervous scale.
That should be fun.
Welcome to the future. You and your unit are now in 2051.
They're everywhere.
We are food, and they are hungry. Our enemy is smarter, faster, and stronger than you can possibly imagine. Do you want to see something really dangerous?
I feel like literally that's all I've done since I got here.
This is
but
Trinidad,
okay.
the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man. And last night, opening night of the new movie on Amazon Prime called The Tomorrow War. Now, remember our rating scale, shock a thumbs up, it's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down, it's junk, I don't recommend it. And for Chris Pratt's The Tomorrow War, it is a shock a thumbs up overall. Now let me just say that, you know, the first half hour of this movie took a little bit to get into. It's kind of a, you know, it's not that big of a concept to really go and put your head around if you watch much sci-fi, fantasy movies, you know, especially of the like that we've gotten since, you know, since the mid-90s. But the reason it takes you the half an hour to get into is because it's all, you know, it starts off very mundane with Chris Pratt, his family, and although it attempts to give you insight into his ordinary, normal life prior to the events that takes place to him in the Tomorrow War, you know, he's struggling to make ends meet for his family. A veteran, an Army veteran, who teaches high school science with a young daughter and a beautiful wife, who is a counselor for people with PTSD. Really, you know, he really doesn't have, you know, much of a foothold to reach the aspirations that he wants to. He wants to become more renowned into science. He wants to be a better father than his father, J.K. Simmons, was to him, having left him when he was younger and his mother to make ends meet, you know, on their own. But essentially what takes place in this is shortly after we're introduced to the family, Chris Pratt struggles to find, you know, more fulfilling work than his high school employment as a science teacher. Soldiers from the future come back in time, about 30 years back in time, from the year 2050, where they announced that the world has been overrun by an alien invasion, and that humankind, is struggling to survive, and they seek volunteers. Well, at first volunteers, but then the world begins the first worldwide draft for participants into going into the future for 1 week to fight this war against the aliens. And at first it is the country's militaries that go, but once they are quickly wiped out, unfortunately, we find out that pretty much the draft comes back into service and they take anybody. Honestly, this looks more like cannon fodder. You know, you get like overweight people, older, you know, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers. In fact, anybody who can basically hold a gun is running up there. Well, maybe not running up there, but are drafted into service to go into the future and fight this war against the aliens. You know, and they're not given very much training as far as a basic training goes. Anybody who has done any military service will draw contention with this right away. But as they say, you know, they need people right away. They don't have any time to train. You're just given a gun, told you shoot in the abdomen or the throat, the weak spots on these aliens, and basically hope for the best. In 7 days, if you should survive, you will be returned back to the present and basically given whatever, you know, money, I guess, healthcare, you know, that that you require, I guess. You know, that's pretty much it. And Chris Pratt is all of a sudden drafted into this. And at first you think, okay, he's going to go in the future. He's going to use his science knowledge, and he's going to come up with some type of insight that's going to give him a leg up, give mankind a leg up on these aliens in the future, something that the people in the future had missed, that only his science, you know, from this time, the present, 20 years in the past, from 2050 or so, would pretty much, you know, have forgotten or not known, I guess. Busy fighting and dying by these aliens. Okay, now I'm going to go into some spoilers here. That's pretty much it. And overall, again, it is a shock and thumbs up. It ends very satisfying with lots of fighting and action once you get past those first 30 minutes that they're kind of trying to set all this up. And definitely all the action takes place in the future. As just kind of a round out, you know, summary of what I feel this movie is. If you saw the Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt movie Live, Die, Repeat, also called The Edge of Tomorrow, it seems to take a lot from that, this movie, The Tomorrow Wars. Mix in a little bit of Independence Day, a little bit of The Quiet Place with the aliens, even similar in design and overall look, although they do look distinctively different. Very similar still to that, and the feel of an alien invasion. Thus, you know, Independence Day as well, and the world coalescing to defeat these aliens. And also, I would say, Starship Troopers, just as, you know, the overall threat to mankind, the superior numbers of these aliens, and the enormous task that the humans have to overcome. So again, Starship Troopers, Live, Die, Repeat, or The Edge of Tomorrow, Quiet Place, and Independence Day, pretty much all mixed together, and you get Chris Pratt in The Tomorrow Wars. Now, a little bit of spoilers, which I felt, you know, was going to happen. Chris Pratt meets his daughter in the future. She is a colonel. She pretty much is the highest ranking person and runs the military. Very much a John Connor-like, from Terminator kind of a vibe with her. You know, we find out that he had died, you know, 7 years from the present. And basically that's why the people from the future are taking people who die in their timeline before in the future, so to avoid any paradoxes, time paradoxes. You know, you can't be in the future when you're there, risk meeting yourself, or bad things will happen to the timeline. But essentially, so this gives Chris Pratt and his daughter a chance to rekindle, you know, their familiar bonds and get to know each other again. You know, more so for her, and also for him to admire what she has become. And she comes up with this toxin, having learned science from her father and inspired by her father, you know, before his death back in her past, his future, that will kill off these aliens. And her plan is to, well, she wanted to use it against the aliens in the future, in her present, in 2050, to eradicate the aliens. However, it's too late for mankind, and her only hope is to give this toxin to Chris Pratt, her father, to take back in time to stop the aliens once they arrive. But again, they're not exactly sure when they had arrived, only having appeared in Russia. There's no satellite footage, no imagery, no intelligence of when these aliens had arrived, other than around 2048 appearing in Russia and then suddenly swarming the globe after that. Chris Pratt discovers, once he's back in the past, that the aliens had actually crash landed on Earth years and years ago and were frozen in the Arctic tundra. Very much like The Thing from, you know, the movie The Thing, John Carpenter's, or the original The Thing. So that's what takes place there. So mankind never knew that these aliens were already on Earth. But due to global warming, as the ice caps melt, they are thawed out and thus swarm the globe and take it over, destroying mankind in the far future. So Chris Pratt rallies a team in the past to go after these aliens there in Russia before they awake and wipe them out. And that is pretty much how the movie ends, with a dramatic fight scene in Russia, very much like The Thing, very much like maybe, what is that, Whiteout, that movie. Very, very interesting. And again, like I said, a lot of actions with the aliens, very much like what I would say a Quiet Place kind of fight, slash Aliens, or Independence Day in that factor, and plus also a slash virus slash toxin given to help defeat the aliens. So there you go. I'll end the spoilers there. And again, overall, a shaka thumbs up. Definitely by middle to the end of the movie, it is an action-packed, heartfelt movie that I feel is perfect for this 4th of July weekend. Again, drawing on much of the feels from the original Independence Day, mankind uniting to defeat aliens, etc., that kind of film. All right. Well, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, saying mahalo and aloha. Thank you so much. And, you know, this weekend, if you have Amazon Prime, you might as well check out the Tomorrow Wars. It's be a fun romp for you and your family. All right. Thank you so much, and aloha.